There are different ways to explain or describe or define Ayurveda. The more classic would be the translation of the word, you say as science or knowledge of life. But I would like to explain a little bit more specifics of what Ayurveda really means in practice, not only as a translation. In its very basic understanding, Ayurveda is pretty much a knowledge of distinction between sukha and dukkha. Ka in Sanskrit, which is the language of the classic text, means space, and then sukha means a comfortable, a pleasant space, while dukkha means a unpleasant or a dirty or a malfunctioning space. When you use the word space here, that means both the space of the body and also the space of the mind. So Ayurveda is the traditional expertise with a lot of experience, with a lot of long-tested methods in which humans were trying to analyze as a human what would be the best approaches to have more sukha, to have more comfort on the body, more comfort on the mind, and what would be the ways to avoid the development or the increasing of dukkha, which is the discomfort, which would be the dirtying of the body. To approach more sukha, more comfort, and reduce dukkha or the suffering, Ayurveda will work on three arrows or three ways. First is Ayurveda's lifestyle. Here we can include nutrition, we can include exercise, we can include routine. So all those things that are not necessarily medical in essence, they are related to day-to-day living. The food that you eat, the times that you eat, the quantities that you eat, the types of food that you partake, the way you cook that food, exercise, what exercise you do, how much you do, and then lifestyle in terms of routine, the time that you wake up, the time that you rest, how much you sleep, how do you organize the day-to-day activities. Ayurveda, on one branch of Ayurveda, has a lot of knowledge in terms of those things, of lifestyle. A second pathway in Ayurveda would be the medical pathway. So that is both in the sense of prevention, you're trying to maintain yourself as healthy as possible, and also in the sense of treatment. Whenever there's a disease that has taken over the body and affected the mind, then you're trying to reduce the dukkha. Here, then Ayurveda will be like any other system of medicine. Then you have medications, which is, of course, because Ayurveda is such an old system or an ancient system, of course, it has used pretty much natural substances, plants, minerals, even sometimes animal parts or animal substances in order to recover health or in order to increase the health of an individual. On this side of medicine, we also have a very strong concept in Ayurveda of aphrodisiacs or rejuvenation, which is the idea of trying to maintain youth on the body. We could relate maybe, like nowadays, a lot of people talk about the hormonal health, maintaining testosterone levels, maintaining your capacity of strength, your capacity of energy. So Ayurveda also has branches that deal with that. But all this, because they work with medicines, because they work with disease, it belongs to the medical side of Ayurveda. A third pathway that Ayurveda concerns itself with is the spiritual path. Although in essence it's a more medical system, Ayurveda was part of the scenario of India of those days, in which what we will nowadays call spirituality, but those days was just culture, was very much infused in life. One thing you need to consider is that it's only the modern society or the modern world in which there's a lot of separation between religion or whatever is seen as spiritual or metaphysical, like beyond day-to-day life, and normal living, material stuff, kind of democratic society. In the ancient times, pretty much all societies, whatever seemed as spiritual or whatever seemed as religious was part of the culture. There was no separation. The way you live, the way you dressed, the way you spoke, the way you guided your day-to-day living, the way you saw life was very much bound with spiritual or religious concepts. So of course Ayurveda was not apart from that, it was not different from that. It was infused with spirituality. Now, why I mentioned the spiritual side of here is because Ayurveda promotes a question, which is, why would you want to be healthy? You see, you can't, even if as much as you try, you can't escape disease. We have a little bit of a misconception, I would say, in the modern expectations, that health is a little bit like a bar that you can just increase or push to be higher and higher. Like, I'm 10% healthy and then I'll get 100% healthy and then I can get 200% healthy, as if health it's something that you biohack. It's something that you can just, as a virus, you can just increase and promote it more and more and more. While on the Ayurveda perspective, all beings, irrespective of how much you try to be careful with diet and exercise and medicine, you always end up getting sick, and of course you always end up dying. It's just a fact of nature. So Ayurveda puts forward this idea of you should use that health not only for the sake of health itself. Like, why do you want to be healthy? Well, because health is good. Ayurveda say, well, it's good, but what you're going to use that health for? This is connected then to another concept in the Indian tradition, which are the Purusharthas, or the four aims of life. I have another video that talks about it, which are basically four. There's the initial goal in life, which is the goal of learning, is the goal of studying, is like learning how to be part of the human race, learning how to be a human, and that's in society, in your family, in your relationships, with your own body. So learning. There's another goal then, which is the goal of acquiring things. We all want to have certain things or develop certain things. So first you study, first you learn how to be a human, and then you use that knowledge to go around and acquire, conquer, develop things. There's a third goal then, that is enjoyment. We all as humans want to enjoy. We want to have certain pleasures. We want to have certain experiences. For that, then we use that learnings of the beginning stages. Then we use the acquiring process. So let's say if I want to travel the world, I need some money, I need to learn some languages. If I want to have a good relationship and enjoy the pleasures of relationship, I have to learn how to be a good person. I'll have to maybe develop certain qualities, material and physical qualities, in order to have a relationship. So the enjoyment then is connected to the previous two. And then you have a fourth aim, which is a spiritual aim, like the beyond. What is this beyond? It depends on culture, it depends on the person, but Ayurveda says you should not be limited of goals that are just concerned with the here and now, with things that you can see and touch. There might be other possibilities or other explorations that you could do that are classically understood as spiritual. So Ayurveda says you should have your health for all those. And ultimately, the first three goals of studying, of acquiring or developing, and of enjoyment, of pleasure, they all tend to be subside or crushed by aging, and we can't escape that. So I rather say you should always look into have certain amount of health in the old age, because in the old age, maybe the main concern you should have, or the main development you should have, is the spiritual development, because the previous three will not be so much available anymore, due to the condition of the body, due to the condition of society, your place in society, and so on.